So, good morning. Thank you for joining me. Today, we are enjoying another live learning session in the Facebook group, Yoga and Meditation for Working Moms. As I've mentioned before, the goal of these live learnings is to help us learn together all of the different ways that we can utilize yoga and meditation and mindfulness as a tool for self-care so that we can serve the ones that we love as the best version of ourselves. So, with that in mind, I want to thank you for joining me either live or in the replay. I really appreciate you being here. We are tackling the concept of breath work for instant focus today. So let's dive in. Okay, so what is the agenda for today? It's going to be a really simple conversation. We have just three main topics that we're going to be covering. The first one is just introducing pranayama. So pranayama is the yoga term for breath work, and we're going to explore what that means a little bit deeper in just a moment. But then we're going to actually practice a breath work technique called box breathing. This is one that is really easy to perform and really helpful. And then we will be discussing how this tool helps working moms. So why do we want to do this technique and how is it going to help you in your busy life? Alrighty, so to begin, let's define what pranayama is. So pranayama is one of the limbs or the paths of yoga. It is its own yogic focus. This is independent of any movement practice, but pranayama or breath work, breath control, breath expansion is a great thing to focus on and to tie into your movement practice or your meditation practice. But it is a practice in and of itself. It is an independent practice in the yoga path. So prana translates to life force. This is Sanskrit. This is the language that yoga is originally based in. So yoga, or rather prana, means life force and literally describes the energy that is believed to sustain the life of the body. So when we think about our breath, is it or is it not required to live? Absolutely. So not only is our breath part of our life force, but our breath is also what connects us to all living beings. Our breath goes into our body and then comes out and then goes into trees and is reconverted from carbon dioxide to oxygen and then rebrought into somebody else's lungs to continue to keep them living and thriving in their own body. So by life force, we do mean literally. And then ayama means to expand, extend, or draw out, but also yama refers to control. So pranayama is about expanding the breath, but also controlling the breath as a tool to help us achieve different tasks or just to help us control the mind. So we can learn to control our breath, we can learn to receive some of those intended benefits, and even start to try to control some of the chaos and the thinking that goes into our mind. Alrighty, so let's dive into why we actually want to practice pranayama. So pranayama is something that has been studied a lot. Now, there are definitely ancient wisdom that tells us the benefits of pranayama, but there's also recent scientific studies that showcase the benefits of pranayama or breath work or breathing exercises. And here are some of the ones that have actually been proven through scientific study, and that is it reduces stress and anxiety, it helps improve your sleep, it can lower your blood pressure, improve your lung function, actually even improve your cognitive function, and increase your mindfulness. So these are all just a fraction of the many benefits that you will receive if you begin a pranayama practice. And what's nice is that pranayama is an easy practice that you can do without any tools at any time and for any length of time. So let me show you a example of pranayama, this box breathing technique. And so this is something that we're actually going to do together right now. We are going to practice this technique live together right now. Now, there are lots of different styles and types of ways that you can practice pranayama. There's lots of different techniques, and a lot of them have different purposes. There are different breathwork styles for trying to increase energy or increase digestion or just try to help you kind of wake yourself up. There are definitely some that help you calm the mind, help you get ready for sleep, help you focus. This technique, this box breathing technique, is really helpful for calming the mind and helping you focus. And that was the intention for our training today, is breath work to help you focus. That is one of the many benefits of pranayama, and that is one that we are going to leave being able to practice after our session today. Now, if you are able to practice this with me live, that is fantastic. You don't need anything. You just need to be able to breathe, which you're already doing. So congratulations. But let's learn this specific technique. So this is called box breathing. And the reason it's called box breathing is because the pattern that we're following emulates a box. So what we're going to do, I'll walk you through it and then I'll guide you through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale to the count of 4. And you can count as low or as fast as you would like, depending on how comfortable you feel, expanding your breath, how comfortable your lungs feel. Then we're going to hold that breath for a count of 4. So inhale for 4 and then hold that breath inside of you for a count of 4. And then we're going to count to 4 as we exhale. So in the inhale and the exhale, we really want to attempt to meter in how much breath we're taking in or how much breath we are exhaling out to match that count of 4. And from the exhale, with no air in our lungs, we're also going to hold for a count of 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice this. But before we do, try to find a comfortable seat. If you don't have one already, maybe sit a little taller. If your legs are crossed or you're slouching, go ahead and sit up for me. Ground your feet, sit tall, roll your shoulders down your back, and just bring your focus, your attention to your breath. I'm going to count and guide you through this, and just know that if this feels a little uncomfortable, totally okay. It does definitely get easier with time, but allow yourself to adapt to the practice and allow the practice to adapt to you. Just do the best you can and don't worry about the rest. Okay, so let's start with kind of exhaling everything out of our lungs, and then let's inhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. After the exhale, hold with nothing in your lungs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep going. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 2, 3, 4. Last round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Allow your breath to return to its natural state. Great job! How did that feel? I'd love to hear in the comments afterwards. How was that? Was that your very first time trying it, or is it something that you've tried before? I found when I first tried these techniques that it was really hard to meter out how much I'm inhaling, because ideally you want to start from an empty lungs and be, you know, 80%, 90% full at the top of the count where you're holding with your lungs fully expanded. And then you want to count as you meter out your exhale to the count of 4 and then be empty by the time you hit 4 so you can hold it with nothing in your lungs. So now 4 is sort of an arbitrary number. That is a number that I've definitely heard a lot in training, and I think that it works for a lot of us, but you might find that with your lung capacity, maybe 3 feels like a more achievable number. Or perhaps you're feeling a little rushed and you'd rather slow it down a little bit and maybe go to 5 or even 6. Any number is fine. But what I would encourage you to do if you're practicing this on your own is just make sure that whatever number you choose, you are keeping it consistent for every side of the box. So you're inhaling to that count, you're holding for that count, you're exhaling for that count, and you're holding at the bottom for that count. And that's where you are really able to help yourself focus, because not only are you focusing on your breath, and your breath is doing all these amazing things inside your body, calming your nervous system, bringing oxygen to your blood. The breath is doing a lot of work itself, but by focusing on the counting, that's where your mind is really exercising as well. By counting those numbers, you might have noticed that when you were counting or when you were listening to me count, you probably weren't too distracted by too many things. You probably weren't thinking about a meeting that you have to go to in an hour. You probably were focusing on the count, and that's part of the technique. That's part of the purpose. That's the intention, is to allow yourself to focus on the count. Remember, the name of this session is Breath Work for Instant Focus. And when you are able to reset your mind on focusing on one thing, whether it's just the breath itself or the breath and the counting, then you are allowing your mind to stop wandering in all the different directions that it might be trying to wander off to. And you're allowing yourself to dial in the focus, dial in the concentration. And that is why this is a fantastic technique to try whenever you do need to focus. If your monkey mind is going all over the place, then you can practice this and hone yourself back in. Let's continue our discussion, and then at the end we can try another practice round if you would like. Okay, so I talked about some of the examples of when you might practice this technique, but I wanted to give you even more examples because, again, we are busy working moms. There is very little time in our day to just climb a mountain and sit in silence and peace amongst the clouds. Wouldn't that be lovely to have that much time to dedicate to our self-care? No, we have to squeeze it in, squeeze the juice from the day, and try to enjoy self-care in whatever little snippets that we can, because self-care is not indulgent, it is necessary. So by practicing this technique, you will benefit in many situations throughout the day. And you can practice this even if you have 5 minutes while you're waiting in your car for your kids to get out of school. Or one of my examples is when I'm sitting at my son's swim class. I could be working on my computer, or I could take 5 minutes to do some breathing. So there's lots of different times throughout the day that you can and probably should try this technique to allow it to really give you all of the benefits. Here are some examples that you might find it most helpful. So right before you need to focus on an important task, I do a lot of projects. And so when I need to sit down and work on a large training document or a large presentation, my mind might be thinking about all of the other things I have to do that day. So by practicing this technique, it actually helps me focus and get prepared for that important task that I need to be concentrating on. Before joining a stressful meeting, am I the only one that has those? I can't be. You guys must have stressful meetings too, right? When I have a stressful meeting that I'm getting ready to go on to, this helps me even if I just do one round. It is so helpful just to reinvigorate, clear things out of my mind, clear things out of my body, give myself a good flush with the breath, and then I can tackle that meeting with a little more ease and confidence. Whenever you are feeling anxious, scattered, or stuck, anytime you are feeling yourself tense, anxious, trapped, there are so many situations we might run into scattered that you are just not feeling right. This breath is a fantastic reset that you can practice to get yourself out of those mindsets whenever you are frustrated. Or, as the next one says, when you are sick of repeating yourself. Those probably go hand in hand. I know that happens for me a lot. When you are noticing that you are not momming the way you want to mom, when you are not speaking to your kids or your partner in the way that you want to speak to them, this is a really great technique to try just to reset yourself. Because again, you're going to flush out some of those emotions with this breath work and you're going to hone in your focus. And then you can come back to your center, your home base, and figure out, how do I want to show up in this situation? Sure, I might be frustrated. Do I want to let myself blow up, scream, yell, say something I might regret? Or can I take 30 seconds and do a round of box breathing? Or do I need to go lock myself in the bathroom for 5 minutes and do a few more rounds and then come back out and address the situation? Some other great times to try this are just when you're waiting on someone because you have a couple of moments of free time, like a minute, right? Or when you just need a minute to yourself. Take it, but use that minute and do something productive, like clearing the mind, clearing the breath, and allowing that benefit to stay with you after your moment of free time is over. So those are just some examples that I thought of. I'd love to hear, what are some examples that you can think of? What are some times in your day that you think that this technique might be particularly helpful? Okay, so I'm going to guide you through, optional to stay with me. We're going to do one more round of box breathing together and then we will close this out. So here's our visual just for reference. I'll guide you through it one more time. Let's see how we feel. All right. Start by emptying out the lungs, and then as we inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last round. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you feel? Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this technique is helpful for you. I hope that you are able to remember this count to 4, remember the shape of the box to help you, And I hope that you practice it as much as you can today, anytime, for as many lengths or as many boxes as you can fit, even if it's just one. I hope that you find that this is going to benefit you. Thank you so much for joining me in today's live learning session. I am so grateful to you for being here. And if you have any other topics or ailments that you're trying to overcome, please let me know. I would love to tailor these conversations to fit your specific needs. But until next time, have a great rest of your day. Take care.